perform tasks for a person with a disability. The law does also state that work or task is not for emotional support or companionships. So behaviors a dog might learn or be taught that would provide you with comfort or provide you with emotional support are, in the service dog world, are frosting. Okay, I like to say it's frosting on a cupcake. We want frosting, but the frosting does not make a service dog a service dog. The frosting is the extras that we get, that we want to have, and we deserve to have with our living tools. But it's what separates the cupcake, is what separates an emotional support animal from a service animal. So service animals, these skills are not only skills based on you, your disability, and what you need done. Two people with the same disability might have different skill sets. A skill for one person might not be a skill for someone else. So here's an easy example. If you are hearing impaired and your dog is trained to alert you to a sound, such as somebody at the door or fire alarm, that is a skill. If you can hear and your dog tells you somebody's at the door, that's a frosting. Okay, so that you can see that if you don't need the hearing assistance, then it is not going to be something that would be a skill for you. Now when these dogs start, ideally, if they're being bred by their training program, they're starting training right away. If they're not being bred by the program, we ideally want to get them started in a training program between 8 and 10 weeks old. This is where they're going to start learning about how to be a dog in a people world, okay? This is where we're going to start to see them. All the service dogs the first year are really on the same trajectory. We're watching them learn things like, and I'm just going to say, ladies, as you're comfortable, just move around and let everybody see. You've got this walk in front or behind me, whatever you need to do. But you're going to see that these dogs are both experienced, they've both been conditioned and trained to work with somebody who's wheelchair-based. But as puppies, they might have been exposed to wheelchairs, to canes, to crutches. They were also exposed to people in funny hats, and they were exposed to people with different body language. They were exposed to people. Halloween is a great time to train a puppy in training, because we want to make sure that it doesn't matter what they're doing or what's going on around them, that they are going to behave. They're going to have really great obedience. They're going to be non-aggressive, non-protective. The aggressive, protective behaviors are never allowed, ever, in service dogs. So they're there to help us be independent from our disability. They're not there to keep strangers away. Okay? One of the things that we know in dogs is that they're not really making a judgment about whether you're a good person or a bad person. They're making a judgment about whether they know you or whether they don't know you. And service dog pups in training have to learn to trust the person who's holding their leash, the person who they're going to be connected with, to make that decision, okay? And to know that that person is going to be able to make a decision that keeps everybody safe from danger, right? They also have to learn about sharing. Sharing's super important. They have to learn how to share their toys. Come on, guys, there's space over here. We can grab more chairs if you need them. They're learning about sharing. They're learning about new experiences being exciting and positive instead of scary. They are learning about what they like to do. During that first year, a good trainer is going to be watching them to say, what is their strengths? What are their preferences? What are the things that they like to do best? And then they are going to be able to use that time as they move into their second year of training, where they're really going to be fine-tuning what their skills are, what their job is going to be. Are they a dog that likes to do things that are with their nose? Are they smelly, right? And by that I mean, are they a sniffy dog? Do they want to do things where they're potentially going to use their noses to identify seizures or to identify diabetes for a person? Are they a dog that likes to carry things around? I'm going to guess here that your lab probably had no issues picking things up when he was he was like, let me just pick something up for you and carry it around. was she a big fetcher when she was a puppy? She was a big fetcher.
Not as much.
Not as much. So the Bernies had to figure out that fetching was something she wanted to do. And I understand that she did that. She was like, hey, wait, this is my job, right? It also could be that the dog is going to use their nose. We're going to see some fetch retrieval here. And no, these are fetch retrievals that are based on what we need them to do. It's not based on something whether they like. They're going to pick up metal objects for us. Some of them will pick up quarters, and they'll pick up forks and spoons, and they'll pick up your metal prosthetic or your cane. They will use their noses or their feet to push elevator buttons or push the square buttons to open the doors. They'll take ropes in their mouths to be able to tug and help open doors up. They will be able to really think about the things that you might have difficulty in the course of your day. And the dog is going to use a combination of skills that they learn, which include fetching, which means to do it with the mouth, tugging, which means to hold it and then pull back on it, carrying, which means to hold and then walk with it in your mouth. They're going to do nudging or bumping with their feet or with their noses. And they're going to put those things together to help you do what you need to do during the day, right? Do you need to get things in and out of a drawer? Do you need to put things in and out of a dryer? Do you need help carrying the laundry in? Do you need help getting in and out of bed? I'm going to ask if they have any special tricks, but I'm going to share some tricks that I know that I say tricks, they're not tricks, they're skills that a friend of mine uses. She's paraplegic, she has no movement below the hip, and when she gets into bed at night, her dog actually is trained to put his head under her knee or under her ankle, lift his head up, and then push her leg over into bed where it's supposed to be.
Wow.
Right? What are the basic things that you do that you want to maintain yourself as being independent with? And can a dog be taught to do those things? Can a dog be taught? Now, you're going to laugh at me, but I want those of you that can watch how quickly these dogs settle down no matter where they are in their movement. If their person stops, they're going to settle in. They're waiting to find out what their person needs. They're not jumping all over everybody. They're not getting up in your face. They might be banging their own person for a little bit, right? But they're not going to beg you. They're not going to end up at the table. You're going to see that the dogs are wearing different types of equipment. Most dogs are wearing capes, at least, that identify them as service animals. That's a communication piece. While it's not required by law, it is definitely an advantage to keep your dog dressed, both for the mentalness of your dog and not. You're also going to see that the dogs, sometimes the dogs wear a head collar, some will be wearing different neck collars or harnesses. You'll see dogs wearing harnesses that are guide harnesses, so the handle is going to be angled, so the dog works slightly in front. This dog is offering some counterbalance stability, which is fabulous. He's also wearing a pouch attached to his cape that's giving some personal items, purses, keys, pickup bags, poop bags, things like that. We all have to be able to take care of our dogs, and as they're working hard to take care of us. They're able to, now this is not something your average dog is going to do, right? They're just, this is a slow gait. This is a staggered kind of gait. So having the dog learn to work with that, learning to work with that equipment is something that it did as part of its training for her. Now at a year, when it was born, the training program didn't say, oh, this is definitely who you're going to work with. They do is they move them through, ideally they're moving them through, watching for the strengths and weaknesses of each dog, and then taking those strengths and weaknesses, gearing them in, and then matching them to a person based first on skill set, but also on personality. Are you a super outgoing, effervescent person? Then you probably want a dog who's like, yes, let's go meet the world, okay? my dogs, I'm getting ready for my 4th service dog. The current candidate is 10 months old and is not ready yet. So next year you'll hopefully get to meet him. Right now he's like, wow, this is so exciting. I love learning. This is great. Oh, you want me to pay attention? Maybe not so much. Okay? But by the time he's older, by the time he's ready to do work, he'll be like, no, look buddy, I'm working. We can play later, but I'm working, because he will be providing me stability as we move. So I'll need a dog that when he's on duty, can be a little more settled, a little less effervescent than we might see for somebody, especially a child. If a dog's being placed with a 12-year-old or with a teen, you might want a dog that's a little more effervescent, a dog that says, hey, let's go meet some friends, right? Encouraging you to meet friends, frosting. Helping to make sure you can get things in and out of your locker, helping make sure you can get dressed and undressed without having to call mom or dad. Skills. Right? Now, the ADA does say that service dogs must be leashed, harnessed, or otherwise connected to the person that they're with, unless that interferes with the task that they need to do. And what the ADA is saying, and what the DOJ, Department of Justice, has said is that what that means is that if you need to take your dog off leash to complete a task, maybe it needs to go fetch an item for you, okay? Maybe your phone has fallen and it's slid further away than the leash would allow for, but the dog can get into that space. You can let them off leash, they can complete the task, and then you're supposed to put them back on leash. You can be using really any kind of traditional leash. You can use a crossbody leash, you can use a waist harness. I actually know a gentleman in Pennsylvania whose training program welded. He's a quadriplegic, no movement at all from the neck down, and he does everything with a stylus from this really amazing wheelchair. Well, his dog was trained. Now this is interesting, right? Because I know both of these ladies are hands-on with their dogs, right? Lots of love and attention. And I was just saying, the Burmese, I got to meet her a little bit earlier. She's definitely a petty dog. She likes to be touched and everything. This program took a dog, very similar skill set. We're talking fetch retrieval, opening doors, carrying packages, things like that his dog is doing. But what they did is they took and welded a pin onto his wheelchair, because they need to make sure the dog is always connected to the chair when they're working. So they have a modified flexi lead, which normally I'm not thrilled about, but they've permanently attached the flexi lead to the wheelchair. And then they've put a donut in the flexi lead so that when the donut is on this pin that they welded to the wheelchair, the dog is in a perfect heel position to the chair.
Oh.
When the gentleman needs the dog to do certain tasks, open a door, pick up his stylus, things like that, the dog needs more leash. So he gets a verbal command to take that donut off the pin. Oh. He now has up to 16 feet to be able to do a task. He then completes the task, okay? Maybe he's got to pick up the stylus. He's going to pick up the stylus. He's going to bring it all the way up, come right next to that gentleman so the gentleman can take the stylus from him, okay? Then the man's going to give a verbal command again, and the dog is going to pick the donut up and put the donut back on the pin. So even in an extreme situation like that, the training programs are able to figure out how to keep you connected with your dog, how to make sure that your dog stays leashed, harnessed, and tethered to you while they're in public doing their jobs. Okay. I'm going to pause for a second. Questions, thoughts, comments? Do you want me to just keep going? All right. So service dogs, when we're talking about what they are, they're tools. And it's important for us to think about them as tools first, okay? Because their purpose is to make us more independent. And the reason that they can do this in public is because the law sees them as tools, right? So I look around the room, we are not in any way strangers to tools here, right? We have a variety of tools being used. I'm going to ask you if you know what the most common tool is worldwide for people with disabilities. And I'm going to make somebody guess. So if somebody doesn't volunteer, I'll pick on you. Full disclosure. Pick on you. There we are. Okay, what's your guess? Nope, not a wheelchair. not catheters, but that's a good one. Nope. You want a hint? You're using it. Nope. Nope. Ready? Yep. Nope. Nope. All right, would everybody who's wearing eyeglasses and contact lenses raise your hand? So for those of you who didn't think of yourself as being part of the community, welcome to the club. Those of you who did, I love this. And so I love this. I'm going to pick on you a little bit. I love this. So this wonderful person over here is very great with some really good guesses, right? Okay. Using a walker, wearing eyeglasses, and you never thought of eyeglasses, right? And then I'm going to say, like, how many people using those tools were thinking eyeglasses? Be honest. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's put this as simply.
There was one gal over here.
There was one. There you oh, sorry, I didn't see you before. So, okay, so 1 out of 50 plus, right? Okay. When you think about disability, right, we've got terms, we've got how much, we've got to qualify for service, yada, yada, yada. Disability simply means part of your body doesn't work the way it's supposed to work, right? That's all it means. Now, how much it impacts your life, what tools you need, there's all sorts of levels, there's insurance, there's state things, yada, yada, yada. On the base level, it simply means part of your body doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And eyeglasses and contact lenses are so commonly accepted that we don't think of that as being a disability unless you're legally blind. But the reality is that the ADA protects your eyeglasses the same way it protects your walkers, our canes, our wheelchairs, our braces, and our service dogs. And the ADA says that all of our tools can go with us in all places open to the public at all times, as long as we are using them, we being the individual with